Hey guys, what's going on? This is BunnyMuffins. New patch, new video. So we are going to be doing a reroll comp today because whenever a new patch comes out, especially a big one like what they've been doing for the past couple of weeks, reroll is always going to be really strong because it gives you a game plan and it's going to allow you to spike much easier than you normally would. So we're just going to jump into this. I haven't decided which reroll I'm going to do yet. I'm just going to wait for the starting items first to see what happens. So obviously, at the time of playing, I did not decide on the comp quite yet, but here we have an Aatrox and a Lee Sin start, and we have some Udyr, so I'm thinking like maybe we could go Skirmishers. I know they're not that great. They did get a little bit of a buff, so maybe they are a little more playable now. We shall see. We got some gold there. We got a Lux. I got triggered from a Lux I got a long time ago, so I no longer use Lux in the early game, so I sold her. Here we have the Hellion starter pack, so I'm going to go ahead and buy those once we get gold. But here we get a bunch of Varuses, 2 Varuses, and a Syndra. So right off the bat, I'm like, all right, let me try some Varus because it looks pretty fun. Varus is my favorite League of Legends champion, or one of. And this comp is called the Golden Shower comp. You guys will find out why later. But we also have a redeem start, so I see no reason not to go for this Varus, even though we don't have any immediate 2 stars right now. I'm going to go ahead and sell Aatrox. I like using Aatrox in the Varus comp a lot. I also want to go level up and put in Knights. I'll explain why later, though. So I like Aatrox in this comp because you can use him as an item holder for Rel early game. So you could just throw all your tank items on him, use him as an item holder, and then sell him once you get a Rel. And he just makes great use of that in the front line. So that's why in the early game, I do like having the Aatrox. If you put items on Leona, like that's fine, but sometimes you end up keeping Leona, and in which case you're like, why do I have like 2 or 3 items on my 1 cost unit? So that's when it gets a little awkward. So this game's really close. I think he's going to eke out the win here. Unless overtime? Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I actually ended up winning that. Huh? Man, sometimes the fights just happen like that, you know? So we kind of got away with murder there. Here our items get a little weird. I went ahead and grabbed the Shadow Belt. No idea if that's good. I'm not really a big fan of either of these items right now because with our item combinations, we can't really build too much. But there's the Poppy 2. I'm going to slam the Shadow Zeeks because that is a good item because you either go like Rage Blade or Shadow Zeeks is a replacement. So if I'm going Rangers or something like that, that's always a good option. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and we will see that this guy is playing, he has the Warmogs. Oh, by the way, guys, Warmogs is a super popular item. In a different game I played today, which I'll probably showcase in my How to Get to Masters video, you want to be building some Giant Slayers because there are like 3 Warmogs per lobby, not even including other health items or just like other synergies that give health as well. And yeah, it's just like Giant Slayer's getting a ton of value for me. I don't know about you guys. Let me know down in the comments how your experience has been with that. And yeah, like obviously don't build it early game, build it in the late game, but it is a pretty solid item right now. So this next shop, not really too much here. So I think I'm going to pre-level to get some higher chances to get some good stuff. We ended up barely winning that last round. But for the items, we have a tier right now. I do want to get other Varus items or like a Warmogs of my own, but I think we're just going to try to grab like the sword here if we can. And that guy beats me to it. Between the Shadow Chain and the Negatron, I'm pretty sure Negatron's better. Shadow Chain, it just doesn't really build that many good things, to be honest with you guys, unless you're running like a very specialized composition. We hit a Taric. We could run Knights. I think Poppy at this point is better than Taric. So we get a Ranger instead. I think I'd rather play the Ranger over the Taric. Reason why I like Rangers is because we have items on our Varus, and you'll notice I did something very interesting here. So I slammed the Chalice. Obviously, Chalice wasn't an ideal slam, but if we look at what this guy is, he is 100 health. I am 100 health. So if I win here because of the building of the item, I'm going to win streak and I'm going to prevent his win streak. So that's why I went ahead and did that there. You don't always have to do that, but sometimes when you're just trying to play for top 4 or something like that, that's what I end up doing. If I get like mediocre items, which is what I have here right now, you might as well try to just play for a win streak, try to get your top 4, and then BTFO after that. So here we are at 29 health. There is a Lux in the shop if we want to go for 6 redeemed. I like 6 redeemed a lot, especially in the mid game. So we are facing a Coven guy. This guy is going, I guess, Vladimir carry. I've seen a bunch of people do that, but he's level 5, so he's probably going for Soraka carry now that I think about it. And this guy, I think we're able to keep... No, we're not able to keep our streak. Not able to kill this Vladimir. A little unfortunate there because we just kind of built an item. We leveled up a lot. And now we are 4-1, but we do not get the streak going into the neutral rounds. In case you guys are new, you do get bonus gold for win streaking in the neutral rounds, but that just wasn't the case here. Unfortunate there. We have a useless shop here, so we'll just skip ahead. And let's see, we got a bow, a Negatron, and a glove. So immediately from those items, like Rangers, maybe going to Aphelios is one of the calls there. Runons with a like Shadow Zeke's probably pretty decent, and then an IE from the Sparring Gloves. You could also build Last Whisper if you want. I think you can't go wrong with either of those items. I'm going to wait one round first in this game, I think, to see what I get on the armory, because that'll give me a lot more direction in this game. So this guy's a Lee Sin 2 already, so I think we just default lose to this guy. He also leveled up to level 6, so I'm going to take full damage here. Some people do that. Level 6 on 3-1. He is on a win streak. He's on a 4 streak right now, not quite the 5 streak, so it's not as worth it for him to level up there. But I guess since he still has 20 gold, it's like not that bad of a trade-off for him. So here we get a Shadow Tier or a Belt. So with that, I think I'm going to grab the tier to build a Shadow Hodge. Shadow Hodge, again, another great item for Aphelios because it gives him a bunch of healing. Sometimes you could build Bloodthirster, but we don't have a sword, so I'm going to go for the Shadow Handed Justice. Shadow Handed Justice is also really good on Varus because he makes great use of both the ability and the attack damage. Of course, we're leveling up because it's stage 3-2. What we put in, it's a little weird. I think we put in the extra Syndra. We don't really have any other synergies we could quite fit. And then I realized I probably should have rolled at this point. I just did it like really late in the round. And the reason why I rolled is because I have 2 Syndras and 2 Varuses. So because of that, I want to try to get them to 2-star. So I should have rolled maybe down to 20 here. But since I realized too late that I needed to roll, I kind of just like got stuck at 30 gold with 2 more pairs on my bench. Luckily, we were able to fit in the 6 redeemed really quickly. And sometimes you just hit random stuff. Like, you know, you were aiming for the Varus 2, you were aiming for the Syndra 2. Sometimes you just hit that random Vel'Koz. It could have been Rel, could have been Vel'Koz. Could have been an Aatrox, I think. Or do we have Aatrox already? But whatever the case, like, sometimes you just hit some random things even though you're not really aiming for them. But really the motivation to roll on level 6 here was to get a 2-star Varus and a 2-star Syndra in order to kind of keep strong during the stage 3. So we get the Varus eventually, which is really fortunate there, obviously, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. So now I'm thinking, like, what do I want to put in at level 7? It's most likely going to be a tank unit. If not, probably like a ranger would do. However, we're at 37 gold, so I'm going to go ahead and sell the Poppy because hopefully by the time I hit level 7, I have something better to put in than 2-star Poppy because frankly, like, Poppy just isn't that great in like 99% of situations. Unless you're going like Hellion, pretty useless champion. So we're able to beat this guy. Wow, that guy's really low health. He's already sub 50. I feel kind of bad. But let's see what we want on the carousel. We have a bow and a Negatron, so like a Rage Blade could be good. Spatula could be good for Redeem Spatula. And maybe like a sword, build some sort of item like that to get our Aphelios jacked up. But we also could take the Rel here. Rel is a very good unit. And Glove's pretty flexible, so I went ahead and grabbed the Rel there. You probably could have taken the Negatron, build a Runons, but that's not like that great of an item. Another choice would have been the Belt, so that you could start saving up for a Warmogs. But we are going to put this Rel in over this Aatrox, and we really need that because we need a bunch of tanks right now. I went ahead and bought Ashe in our shop. I'll probably just sell the Vayne if we do not win this round, but I think we are going to win this. This early Vel'Koz with no items, he's actually doing like a ton of damage. The redeemed buff isn't even like proccing on him until like his second ultimate, but for some reason in the early game, Vel'Koz just always hits really hard. I noticed that a lot as I was playing this game, and look at that. On the damage chart, he dealt 2,000 damage with no items and as a 1-star. Pretty impressive in my opinion. Obviously, he does have the Chalice of Harmony on him, but that doesn't give like that much AP, you know? It's kind of like half an item. This guy's going, oh yeah. A lot of Yasuo players. I played like 4 games today, and it's the first day of the patch, but a ton of Yasuos. I'm not really too sure why, but like I've been seeing like 2 Yasuos per game. Like again, let me know if you guys have been seeing that as well, but I don't think it's like that great, and I didn't really see that many streamers playing it, so I really wonder why people are going for that. I mean, it's not bad, it's just not like that great, you know, as far as what I've seen. So we get a chain vest and a belt here. Belt's really good. Again, we could build Warmogs with that. I think I'm going to build a defensive item right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 item components, so I think I'm going to build the Gargoyle Stone Plate right now. And even though I said I wanted to reroll this game, we just don't have a lot of Varuses. So I'm just going to go ahead, level up, and try to play for top 4 here because, again, I don't really like my items that much. They're pretty good, but they're not perfect, so it's going to be hard to win. But since I don't have a lot of Varuses, it's like a no-brainer to level up here. If I had like 2 more on my bench, so I have like 6 Varuses total, I think it would be worth re-rolling, but just not really at this point. I think I want to go into maybe an Aphelios or even like a Kale build with this. So this guy is going... I don't even know. This dude's team was like all 1 star. I guess ours is 2, but we have our carries at 2 stars, so that's why we were able to do pretty well there. So I don't know if you guys noticed yet, but they changed the stage 4-2 armory, where it doesn't always occur anymore. Now it has a chance to occur on stage 4-2, 5-2, or 6-2. And because of that, we just don't get an extra item here, so you will have to play around that in case you guys are new to the patch. All right, so this guy is going for a Bramble and Warmog's Leona. Again, like tons of Warmogs being built here. We kind of griefed his Vel'Koz. His Vel'Koz at a very awkward angle of an ult. But look at this. Our Vel'Koz is doing pretty well too. I mean, his is a little better because he has 2 static shivs on him. That's a little bit of an aggressive item combination, if I must say so myself. But we are able to just squeeze out the win there. So what's the plan here? I think the plan is to go level 8, keep adding in random synergies to our redeemed comp, and then eventually pivot out of redeemed, go into like 3 redeemed plus maybe a couple of legendaries. I'm a really big fan of the Teemo, Heimerdinger, Ivern, Volibear combo right now. And if you're able to make it to level 9, it's like a no-brainer to put that in. And ideally, they use some sort of like Spirit Shojin, blue buff, like a bunch of mana items and like a Rage Blade. But you don't like need that. So with the Zeke's Herald, the Shadow Zeke's, we could go into something like Heimerdinger, because there's a little like trick you could do where you Shadow Zeke's his turret, and because Heimer gets a ton of attack speed, he actually gives his attack speed to his turret, so you end up stealing attack speed from your turret and then giving it right back. It's a neat little trick if you guys haven't heard of that quite yet. So on this carousel, what do we want? We have a belt, so we probably want a Warmogs. We have a bow, so we probably want to complete that item as well. But we are last pick, so we don't really have a choice on what we could kind of get. We could also go for Infinity Edge. Maybe we could use that on Aphelios. So I think grabbing a sword there isn't the worst thing ever. So it is stage 4-5 right now. I was just doing a quick scout. We have 32 gold to level up. Pretty much a no-brainer to do that there because we are able to keep 30 or more gold. I generally recommend leveling up if you can keep 30 or more gold. It's just one of those like rules of thumb that are like pretty much always apply, you know? But you guys can check out my like tips and tricks video if you want other like tips like that, or my heuristics videos. Both of those are really good at like covering a lot of things you probably should always be doing, at least in 90% of situations. So this guy's going Vel'Koz. A lot of Vel'Koz players in this lobby. I wonder why. Is Vel'Koz good right now? Dang, he sniped me somehow. I don't really know. I mean, it can't be that bad. I like the Spellweaver buff a lot. He does have a Redeem Spatula, so you could say he's just having like a good game in that sense. But yeah, also like I haven't rolled at all this game, so, or no, I rolled like 10, 15 gold before, but I really should be like a little stronger if I rolled down on 4-1, but we're at 75 health, so that's why I did not roll this game. So whenever you need to decide on whether you want to roll or not, you always have to look at your health and your econ and your board. So if your board is weak, that's a sign to roll. If you have a lot of gold, that's a sign to roll. If you have low health, that's a sign to roll. So out of those 3 things, if you're hitting like 2 of those 3, it's probably like a good indicator to roll. You could alternatively level up. It pretty much just means like spend your gold. But if you are weak, I do prefer rolling more than leveling. So it really just depends on your state of your board right now. And since we were winning the past couple of rounds, like, I don't know. This board is like playable, but I wouldn't say this would dominate in most games. Because I've sometimes had boards like this where I have like a 2-star carry, a 2-star support unit, and then like one other random 2-star. And if I'm doing like a fast 8, I often like lose all those rounds. But I think because of the synergies we have, we're like not doing that badly right now. All right, so we got a sword and a tier. We could build another Hodge. We can maybe build a Zeke's. We can maybe build a Redemption and IE. I think Redemption IE is best because I just really like having a Redemption. So I think we could just sell the Rel, put the Gargoyles on her and the Redemption on her, and then put the IE on our Aphelios when we play it. And again, we're like, at this point in the game, I'm like probably going Aphelios because we have good items for him. And like, we just don't have 3-star bears, and we don't really have Kale items, so I can't go for those 2 like that easily. I should roll here, but I'm just a boomer, so I rolled really slowly. And I probably should be picking up like a bunch of Dravens as well, because Draven uses IE very effectively, along with like some of the other items that we have already, such as Shadow Zeeks and Shadow Hand of Justice, and even the Giant Slayer. We see a Varus there. I'm going to pick him up because I want to replace my Varus with Aphelios, so I still will need Varus to get the 4 Ranger buff. I like 4 Ranger and then like 2 to 4 Nightbringer. I think 4 Nightbringer, 4 Ranger is really strong with like a random tank. But I should sell something here. I sold the Jack, so we get up to 43 gold. Interesting shop here. See, sometimes these like carousels really surprise you because we have item components in stage 5-2. Normally after stage 5-1, like we don't get any more item components. I'm gonna get the belt. I think like a Zeeks might be useful as well. Or later on we could build a Warmogs for our tank. And I kind of regret building the Redemption because Warmogs is much better. But we're gonna roll down a bit. We hit the Vel'Koz 2 randomly. I'm just gonna take that just to survive a little bit, even though we're probably gonna sell it later in most games. And as we keep rolling down, not really hitting the Aphelios. I don't know why. Aphelios isn't even that good. I just really wanted to try him out this game because he got like a tiny bit of a buff and all the other comps got nerfed, but we're just going to sell back up to 24. And it's at this point where I'm like, maybe I should just go for Varus 3-star, you know, because we're only 2 off now. Level 8 doesn't have the best chances for it, but what else can we honestly go for? Because if we don't hit Aphelios 2-star, what's the point of playing him? There is none. And we don't have any of the Nightbringers that we got 2-starred either, so I think we're just gonna go for like this Varus 3. So here is where I sell both my Aphelios and my Nautilus, and then I'm just like, all right, we're just gonna do the Golden Shower. Even though our items are a little weird, because I would prefer to have like a Rage Blade. Rage Blade is better than Shadow Zeeks in teams that last a long time, such as Redeemed. And Shadow Zeeks, on the other hand, is really good on Draven because he kills a lot of units really quickly and the fights are shorter. But since we are like Redeemed, we have a Rel who's super tanky, we have a Redemption. All these fights are going to be super long, so I would prefer the Rage Blade, even though we don't have it this game. So what do I want on this carousel? I think we just take the Kindred. She has a QSS, not the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst. I think just having a Kindred for the Ranger buff is good enough because she gives us both Ranger and Mystic. So we could just replace the Ashe and then just get both of those benefits right away. Kindred's also really good because she helps her team live really long, so there's like no issue in that at all. I think here, after hitting that last Varus, that's when I'm like, all right, let me roll all the way down to 0 to find this Varus 3-star because we are only 1 off. And yeah, that's why I roll a couple more, at least down to 50, and I just run out of time. I think if I had more time, I would roll down more here, like looking back at it at least. We're still running Nautilus. He is giving us Ironclad, but most of these lobbies, most of this lobby, most players have a lot of magic damage. So I think I do need to take out the Nautilus and just lose the Ironclad because there's just much better stuff to put in because Nautilus isn't like that great of a unit. He does have a crowd control, but it's not like anything that game breaking. And this guy absolutely destroyed us. I think once we get Varus 3, we could go ahead and beat him though, or maybe someone else knocks him out because he's only at 3 life. Maybe we just never face him again because he definitely did well against us. So we lost that fight. I'm going to roll down, try to hit this Varus. Because again, whenever you're 1 off, like a huge power spike, you generally should be rolling. We hit the Lux 2, which is nice. And then there he is. There's the Varus 3. And I guess even though we didn't want to reroll, or sorry, we wanted to reroll, didn't get the reroll, and then we ended up getting it later. Sometimes a game ends up happening like that. I did want to go Aphelios after we didn't hit many Varuses, but we never saw Aphelios. So this is kind of a good example of like playing what you're dealt in some way, because if you were forcing Aphelios, you probably would have won 8th this game because we didn't like not roll that much. We rolled like a tiny bit, but it's like we just never hit an Aphelios pair. And if you don't hit a pair, it's kind of risky to roll all the way down to 0 if you are decent life total, which is what we were this game. So yeah, again, the Yasuo players, no clue why. I guess this guy's playing Aphelios, but he's not really playing him. He's just using him for a Nightbringer, which is a little awkward. So I think we sell these two, go back up to 50, and then we do want to end up playing some sort of third Mystic because that's just going to be really good in this particular comp. We get a Giant Slayer. I think I could slap that on Vel'Koz. He's doing decent damage, and like no one else on my team does any damage, so it just by default has to be him. I think we go to level 9 next turn. I did a bunch of pre-leveling, so we're at 52 gold now with 34 out of 80 experience. I think next turn, just get the clean level up, roll down a little bit, put in an extra unit, and literally just see what happens after that. This guy has a Lee Sin 3, which is actually funny. The Giant Slayer is actually destroying him because he's doing so much bonus damage because he has a lot of health. And Yasuo not strong enough to take us out quite yet. Ooh, this is interesting. Full item shop. I think Jeweled Gauntlet for Vel'Koz or Hat. There's a lot of debate whether Hat or Jeweled Gauntlet is better on Vel'Koz right now. And I think it's still Jeweled Gauntlet, but I'm sure there are people out there doing the math and figuring it out for sure. I'll let you guys know when they find it out. So if you guys do want to hear an update on that, probably it's going to be on Friday when I release my meta snapshot. Definitely go ahead and subscribe below if you are interested in that, because I do go over every like top tier comp and how to play them. And here we're just gonna, like, I know I said I wouldn't play Ironclad, but I honestly, when I was playing the game, I didn't see the Morgana in my shop until the round started, but I would prefer to put her in over the Jax because we are facing like 50 magic damage players and Ironclad does absolutely nothing against them. So I just shouldn't be playing that, but I was in a rush. I just leveled up to 9 and couldn't think of what to put in. Did not see Morgana until the game started. Hopefully that doesn't punish us too hard. This Rel is absolutely so tanky. Redemption plus Gargoyle Stoneplate is so incredibly good because you just keep healing yourself and you have a ton of armor because you're like solo tanking in the front. So it's really hard to kill Rel. And she also like has a shield and CC built in. So it's just like a incredibly good combination. So if we look at the damage charts, the Vel'Koz isn't doing crap for me. I'm going to take out this Jax and I'm going to see if Morgana or what's his name is better. Yeah, there's not too much physical damage, so just sell that. Probably Rise is better now that I'm like looking at it, but it shouldn't make like that much of a difference. Like Morgana 1 just isn't that great. I'm even going to take out Nautilus because we just don't need the Ironclad at all. And yeah, even this guy, Yasuo, even though he's like a physical damage champion in League, in TFT, he does true damage. So any sort of resistances just don't really matter against him. Let's see what happens here, though. Yeah, we just destroy him. He's too weak. He did not hit his Yasuo 3-star because he's contested this game, so it's like pretty obvious that we're going to beat him here. If he did have Yasuo 3-star, I'm not really quite sure who wins, but it for sure would be more close. So against this guy, I'm looking at his team, is a guy with Lee Sin 3. I think we just want like a defensive item or the Redeemed Spatula, because then we could drop Leona for something better. And if Redeemed wasn't there, maybe Hand of Justice on Vel'Koz would have been good enough. Didn't really get that good of a look at the carousel, but here we could roll. He's at 20 life. I'm going to put the Redeemed maybe, I think, on Darius, because if Darius is in the front line, he's going to die and then pass the buff on to the rest of my team. So I think that's just the best. I'm going to put in Karma for Invoker. That's definitely going to help out my Varus to cast more a lot, my Syndra, and my Vel'Koz. Like pretty much my whole team is going to benefit from that Invoker buff. Don't really need the extra Leona there. And here we get Teemo, even better. Gonna drop him in over the Karma. It's a little late in the game to do the pivot into the HIV combo that I was talking about, like HIV plus Teemo. And a little unfortunate, but like we could still use the Invoker buff. But Varus 3 is pretty solid in the late game. It's not the best thing you can run, but you could definitely run worse things. And we have the Giant Slayer, so we just are able to destroy him and knock him out there. I think he surrendered actually because he went to negative 100 health. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. If you guys want more, I will be releasing a meta snapshot on Friday. So definitely look out for that. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe. And of course, smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.